Or, oh my gosh, that was, look, it's like Over 1,000 miles of travel has brought Juniversal from the dark recesses of my editing room directly into the middle of the dark universe, located at Epic Universe Theme Park in Universal Studios Orlando. Today, we're taking a look at one of, if not, the most anticipated new attractions in the entire resort, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. It's the centerpiece of the Dark Universe world, but also seems to be the one ride that's caused the most conversation at Epic. Now, I'll be able to experience it myself and dive into the details with you. Is this experiment worth all the hype it's been getting? Is the new technology implemented really the game changer Universal's creative team says it is? Also, just how is the atmosphere within the walls of Dark Universe's Darkmoor village? Only one way to find out. Before making it over to the centerpiece attraction, I had to wade my way through Darkmoor Village. You first enter through Dark Universe's unique portal. A purple orb adorns the archway with Henry Frankenstein's classic words below it.
It's alive! It's alive!
Darkmoor's entrance combines thick, overgrown tree roots with a tower reminiscent of something that might be used by Dr. Frankenstein to harness the power of lightning and bring his creation to life. Inside the portal is a screen of purple cosmic-looking imagery that leads you into old-world architecture featuring slanted wooden beams and lanterns. On the other side, you're brought into a cemetery with Gothic statues and headstones. Immediately to the left are the chained-up Frankenstein catacombs. It's closed by order of the Baron of Darkmoor himself. Just before you enter the main thoroughfare, you can see the village name emblazoned on the side of a stone arch, appearing as if the metal was hammered and bent into the shape of the letters. The candles behind it are a nice touch. The village center is made up of stone buildings with some accented perspectives. It calls to mind Universal's famous European village set used in The Man Who Laughs, Frankenstein, and many others. In the middle of the area is an appropriate steaming well. People kept stepping up to look inside, but a security guard came by, asking them not to look directly into the well or they'd lose their souls. To the left of the well is the Burgomaster porch, meant to elicit the famous scenes from Frankenstein. That was a fun detail to get a close-up view of. To the right of the well is an overhanging sign for the Lion's Head. This is where the Invisible Man first shows up in the 1933 film. I did catch the Invisible Man hanging out just outside the inn, but he was too busy insulting these girls to talk to me. Seriously though, this guy was awesome. He had the tone and intonation of Claude Rains down perfectly with an impeccable wardrobe from the film, including the bandage wrappings and railroad carriage glasses. It was hot out there, so I'm sure he preferred to stay in the shade while in that getup. Next to the Lion's Head is a sign for Dr. H. Jekyll, apotheker. I didn't know while I was there, but apparently, if you lean in close to the window, you'll hear Jekyll arguing with his alter ego, Mr. Hyde. As for food, I stopped inside Das Steakhouse for their carved staked steak with mashed potatoes and other fixings. It was very good. The atmosphere in that place was the best I've seen at a Universal eatery, period. They've got these elaborate paintings on the wall featuring creepy vampiric imagery, including a war with humans. There's a history that connects the paintings too. I overheard a few other guests talking about how certain characters recur in different portraits. The other food place I had to stop into was down the road a bit at the Burning Blade Tavern. Maybe the best Frankenstein reference in that whole world. I felt like I walked inside a bar from Lord of the Rings in there. My goal was to get their famous monocaine drink. This is the substance that turns Dr. Jack Griffin invisible in the 1933 picture. The bartender warned me the beverage could have unpredictable effects and told me to ask the Invisible Man if I had the right DNA. It's a green liquid that's served inside a souvenir plastic beaker. I really loved the presentation, but would I love the taste? Wow. Strong hint of pineapple in there. Oh my gosh, that was, look! It's like the Burning Blade Tavern just lit up in fire. That obviously, and they're playing loud music here, it's pretty great.
This is great timing. So that's obviously from the ending of Frankenstein, an ode to that film. Oh! That was awesome. Got a cool off from that. Mixed with some kind of lemon lime pop or soda. I think there's a few other flavors in here that they list. I think like blueberry and a few other things. But if you like pineapple, you really like this. If you don't like pineapple, I don't think you would really be into this. But I love the color. It's very sudsy. I don't know if you can see. Very carbonated beverage. I think it's like $12 for the drink. And you get to keep this, so that's at least something kind of cool. But yeah, I'd give this a thumbs up. Yeah. Am I invisible yet? Wait, check this out. I'm going to do a dissolve effect in post-production. Oh! So Darkmoor at night is a little bit different. Things are a little bit spookier, and that definitely lends to the theme that's going on in there. But, I mean, just to see everything lit up, like the signs behind me, the portal itself, the spire up there is lit up and kind of in the same way that sort of evokes the same kind of imagery that's in Frankenstein when the electricity strikes the monster and everything. Everything in there just looks kind of cooler at night, too. The ground's kind of wet because it's been raining all day, but also because they just have water misting all the time, so the ground is a little reflective, and it looks pretty cool. They have Frankenstein's castle all lit up, looks amazing. If you have a chance, and I know not everybody does, but if you ever have the chance to come out here, this is a great place to go check out, especially if you're a big fan of the original Universal monsters and that whole legacy.
I know there's a lot I missed with the limited time I had, like the makeup experience. It makes me want to go back. Outside of the Invisible Man, the only other character I caught was the new version of Igor featured in the Monsters Unchained ride. If there are any other Easter eggs you've spotted yourself, leave them in the comments. Of course, the main attraction was held within Frankenstein's manor. Sitting at the end of the village, it's a towering sight that ties the whole area together in spectacular fashion. Both the exterior and interior gave off some Tower of Terror and Haunted Mansion vibes from over at Disney, but make no mistake about it, this was very much its own thing, tied deeply into the roots of Universal's monster legacy, and I think they really knocked it out of the park here. I recommend this attraction wholeheartedly. The experience was absolutely enthralling, and I want you to have the same chance at seeing it for yourself. So I'm going to put a spoiler warning up just in case you don't want to hear and see all the ins and outs. I'm gonna do my best to not look up any outside explanations of the Frankenstein Experiment story. The following is what I picked up on from walking the queue and riding the attraction. The detail in this place is crazy. It feels like every which way you turn, there's an Easter egg, a reference, or just something appealing to look at. The queue is gorgeous. Even starting from the outside and heading in under those gates, there's plenty to feast your eyes on as you get closer to the manor. Inside, you get a glimpse of the foyer, but can't take in most of the Gothic beauty until a little later. There are shelves stacked with old tech and books, but I didn't have enough time to get a good look at most of it since we were moving pretty quickly there. At the end of the first hallway, there's a flashing bit of text on the wall that asks, "Who's the true monster?" Great way to start our journey and get us in that Frankenstein mindset. After going back outside in a courtyard area, I briefly saw a section that snakes the lines way far back. Thank goodness I didn't have to stand in any of that, as there wasn't much to propel the story forward. The total wait time for me was about 40 minutes as we moved at a good pace, taking everything in while not standing still for too long. We soon walked into a living room space, and my excitement kicked up. The ceiling was painted with these ghostly, angelic, demonic creatures similar to some of the stuff at Das Steakhouse, but what really got me was the wedding picture of Henry and Elizabeth above the fireplace. Seeing Colin Clive and May Clark represented as their characters from the 1931 film was a great tribute and reward for those who've seen the classic. There's a family tree on the back wall featuring Victoria Frankenstein, whose story we'd hear more about later. A newspaper burns among the firewood that reads, "Shadows over Darkmoor," giving us another clue about what to expect. There was probably more to look at, but not much time to inspect closely before we moved on. Then we were presented with the supposed corpse of the original Frankenstein monster. A futuristic X-ray scanner gave out some information about the specimen, another aspect I wish I could have looked at longer. At this point, we started to see some more modern tech and sketched out plans merged with the older era equipment and body parts. It seemed like Victoria was trying to improve on Henry's work. On one of the chalkboards, there were hints about what was going on, including a mention of vampiric, wolfman, and gillman blood. Next was a full view of the foyer as we climbed the stairs. Frankenstein monster-style statues stood on the floor like grotesque Renaissance sculptures. The walls were painted with more detailed renderings of resurrected beings with electric blue eyes. Lights flashed as the black-light paint shined. At the top of the steps, Colin Clive showed up again as Henry Frankenstein in an old portrait, emphasizing the twisted reverence he holds in the manor as patron saint of his revived creatures. The story came into clearer focus when we entered a room with photos of different monsters on the walls and a found footage type projected video on the far end. More plans for new experimentation were also featured in various forms. An ancient Egyptian scroll, suggesting the presence of the mummy, was seen for the first time, as the video seemed to show subjects being attacked by monsters and waking up in the care of Victoria Frankenstein. Another room continued the electrical theming as we were shown a diagram of a vampire bat before reaching a portrait of Victoria Frankenstein. She was on the opposite end of the balcony from Henry. Finally, we were guided into the area with the pre-show video. This is a nitpick, but I wish they shot this and the found footage content in live action. The CG animation is fine, and I know it can cheapen things when a live action segment is poorly integrated into an attraction with this much detail, but if they did it truly cinematically with real actors, that would have added a lot in my opinion. Anyway, we're properly introduced to the new Igor. He's a favorite at the park for a reason, with cheeky dialogue and an excitement for the uncertainty he's about to subject us to. We're to take a ride through the Frankenstein catacombs. I like how the entrance to that location is the first thing you see in Darkmoor, tying things together. They also provided a miniature of the ride vehicle here, and my enthusiasm kind of dropped.
I'm gonna get sick on this ride, aren't I?
They were showing this thing flip around so much I thought I was going to get motion sickness, which happens sometimes. The next room gave us Victoria in all her animatronic glory. Henry was her great-grandfather, and she's looking to finish his work. A new Frankenstein creature is unveiled to us, as is Victoria's aim to control the last monster left, Count Dracula. We're about to bear witness to the Dracula Experiment. Right after one more room. But it was a good one. We see Dracula's coffin open and a picture of actress Mary Philbin on the ground. I'm sure this was supposed to be her Christine character from the Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera silent movie. There's also a broken cage and sarcophagus. The mummy is obvious, but I'm guessing the broken cage was holding the gill man from Creature from the Black Lagoon? Not 100% sure. After that, we were one dark hallway away.
Alright, I just got off the ride. All I can say is that I'm stunned. Absolutely blown away by the technology that they presented. This was an extremely smooth ride that moves you around from different perspectives. I did not have any nausea whatsoever.
The animatronics themselves ranged from human size to much bigger, adding to the effectiveness of the chaos happening around you. It played out like the climax of a big franchise that you're right in the middle of. I loved it for that. I spotted the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Phantom of the Opera, Dracula's Brides, the Gillman, the Wolfman, the Mummy, and obviously Frankenstein's monster and Dracula mixing in with Igor and Victoria. Maybe my favorite part was seeing the Phantom at the beginning. Very effective moment that brings you into the experience. That giant Dracula animatronic showing up is hard to beat. Gotta love how Igor asks for good reviews at the end too. Easy to see why people like him. It seemed like Victoria was trying to control Dracula like she controls the second Frankenstein monster, but the Count absorbed the electricity of the experiment and became more powerful, letting havoc reign. The creature, Victoria, and Igor help us escape by fighting back all the monsters. Victoria finally defeats Dracula by blasting him with a concentrated sunlight ray.
It's too early to say this is my favorite thing that I've ever written or anything like that, but I will say it is high up there, and I do not think that the hype is underplayed at all. I think this is incredible. If you can handle this kind of ride, or even just go through the line queue, honestly, I would suggest it. So, wow. Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment is absolutely everything that they have said that it is, and more. Amazing ride. Amazing experience.
The After Ride shop had some really fun merchandise. I ended up buying the white Universal Monsters t-shirt. Seeing all these actors' old likenesses used so much here made me wonder if their descendants are getting compensated at all. Just looking this up now, and there's been several legal battles over this very issue. Interesting. In any case, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment is well worth the hype. If you ever have the chance to check it out, I positively recommend it. There's a bit more to Darkmoor Village than what I covered today, but don't worry, I'll be back with a review of the Curse of the Werewolf coaster and more very soon. But next time on Juniversal, we get wrapped up in another monster classic. Stop by the Walter Culture YouTube channel for more content, and I'll see you soon.
There's monsters in there!